sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
Well, howdy. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast for the 9th of September 2014. Special show note leading up to Thursday, September 11th, the 13th year of the tragedy on 9/11. I will have a live show that day. I will present to you several things, mainly my opinion. I will try to find clips to play and such and go from there. And the thing is that people do not have definitive answers. Neither do I. And so I'm going to share with you what I have, what I can get, and let you decide. You know, there are certain people who will continually say that it was 19 hijackers. And the evidence does not prove it out. The evidence does not show it. It's not there. And when you understand the psychological operations behind all of that and how they put it all together to make you believe their lie, then they are manipulating the narrative to suit their script, basically. They create a script with characters. They write the parts for these characters. They develop the dialogue for these characters. And then they put it out there and make you believe it. Because there's this little thing called suspension of disbelief. I learned that from being in theater for many, many years. I have a theater entertainment background, but I have some serious issues that I understand about life and about what goes on around us, and I study and research a great deal of that. And I apply all my experiences from everything I've done in various aspects, from construction to warehousing to, inventory to, my music, that I've created and the recording studios that I've been in and people I've talked to on several issues pertaining to religion, pertaining to personal development, pertaining to personal behavior, all of that. So I take all of that and I apply that and those things and I break everything down and I show you exactly, as I like to say, I pull away the curtain and show you who's pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. I know exactly what button they're going to push. I know exactly what lever they're going to pull. And sometimes I could be wrong. And that's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind that because it tells me, hey, I may have overlooked something, so let me go back and take a look at this, or let me look at this, and go from here, So it's really relevant that I tell you that, because a lot of times people will tell you, well, it was 19 hijackers. No, it wasn't. It was the actors on the stage playing a part. And they were all involved in something that was much bigger than they were. And I don't, I listen to Glenn Beck, Alex Jones, Michael Savage, Josh Tolley, Nick Tucker. I listen to them all, and everything they say, I don't have to agree with everything, but everything they say is crucial. And I take out of those things that I can investigate myself to find out exactly what's going on. Not only, because they say it and their well-researched material is out there for everybody to check out. But I take the little things that are what I would consider obscure, and I find things in there, and it leads me right to the answers that I'm looking for. So, anyway, I just wanted to share that with you in the beginning of the show, so I'm going to go to break. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. If you want to email me, you can. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. And you can go to thewaynespearceshow.weebly.com for more information. Talk to you in a bit. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from The Views Expressed. Please come join me on The Views Express Live, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. The BK Factor, with your host Brian Keller on the Shake and Wake Radio Network, shakeandwakeradio.com.
No elitist drivel, no media spin. Logic over emotion, fact over fiction. The home of independent conservative thought. The Conservative Voice with your host, Jeff Wagner, only on the Conservative Radio Network.
The following broadcast is from the Free America Radio Network.
Hey folks, how you doing? This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce for the 9th of September 2014. Yes. Lots of things going on this Tuesday with the lead up to the 13th anniversary of the tragedy of 9/11. I'm going to say this. Over 1,500 architects and engineers are not wrong, period. A little coffee there, folks. Anyway, welcome. I really appreciate you listening to this podcast, and if you appreciate this show, please support it as much as you can. If you're able, go to the Wayne S. Pierce Show.weebly.com and donate if you like. Sponsor the show if you like. And also, I got emergency food supply if you need it. It's right there on the website at the top of the page. Click on that and get as much as you need. It's going to help your family out and help out the family at Free America Radio Network. So thank you very much for your support. Today is one of those days where, you ever had one of those days where you didn't want to wake up and you just didn't want to get up? You woke up, you're laying in bed, you turned off the alarm, you just don't want to get up. Yeah, it was one of those days. Considering that I woke up to go do my middle of the night business and decided, well, okay, I don't want to go to bed right now, so I don't want to go back to bed. So I, sat up for a little bit and then went back to bed and the alarm went off and I'm laying there and I'm just like, I don't even want to get up. But I had to because I had stuff to do. And so I get up, I do stuff, and here I am doing a podcast. And drinking coffee. Coffee is the nectar of the gods. Thank you very much for that. Anyway, what do we do when we are confronted with opposition? Great question, isn't it? I think that each and every person has their own particular perspective on this. I think they have their own particular style of manner when it comes to opposing the opposition or defending themselves against the opposition toward the other side. And this is true in anything, and psychological operations plays a big part in this when it comes to government intervention in a citizen's life, especially in the United States of America. And we have constitutional rights, which, of course, when I say constitutional rights, let me be more specific. We have God-given rights which cannot be taken away, and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights protects that against government intervention into our lives. Now, there are other people who say, well, you give up your rights when you take on or take from or depend upon the government. No, you don't. I don't care if you're on Social Security disability. I don't care if you're retired. I don't care if you're, 10 years old. You have God-given rights that cannot be taken away, and the government cannot take that away from you because that's how it was set up under the Constitution that was ratified December 15th, 1791. That's just the way it is, period, end of sentence. I don't care if you work for a company that says, you're going to do this and you're going to do that, and I don't give a crap about your rights. You better find another career. Okay? You better find another McJob. You better find another, something to do to give yourself that living that you would like. Because the opposition is going to be right up in your face, and it doesn't matter to them what your rights are. I don't care if your boss at work tells you that you have to wear a pink tutu while working. If you don't want to wear a pink tutu, you have that right to oppose him or her. Well, then I get fired. Then you can sue. Wrongful termination. It happens every day. Now, if at some point the opposition is too much, you're not dishonoring yourself or anyone else when you retreat and regroup and reset. There's no dishonor there. Okay? Now, you reevaluate, you re-examine, and you reset, and you go again. That's another thing that happens every day. Now, here's the other thing about opposition, and I mentioned it a few minutes ago. They don't care. I live in Reno, Nevada. Biggest little city. That's the moniker on one of the arches here in town. Biggest little city in the world. And we have casinos here. The casino business on the East Coast is failing miserably. It is also, regardless of the numbers that you hear from the Gaming Commission and other people here in Nevada, gambling, the tourist industry is slowly losing traction. As a matter of fact, you're going to hear me typing here in just a minute because I'm going to give you some stats, okay? And in Nevada. Now, I want to specifically go to... Now, this is interesting. This is from Frontline over on pbs.org. Gambling Facts and Stats. A record 29.6 million travelers visited Las Vegas in 1996. Now, this was... I don't see a date of this at all. But it also says a nationwide survey by the U.S. Travel Industry Association found that 38% of all U.S. residents have been to Las Vegas in their lifetime. The average length of visitors' stay in Las Vegas was approximately 4 days. 3.7, 4 days. 87% of all people who visited Las Vegas in 1996 gambled. Of people who gambled, the average gambling budget for the trip was $580.90. Now, this just goes down through all this. And I'll put this up on, this is very interesting because this is a contrast comparison type thing. I'll put this on the Wayne S. Pierce Show Facebook page because it is a very, very interesting statistic. And the most interesting thing, though, is the fact that when you live in the area, when you're here, whether Las Vegas or Reno or Pahrump or whatever it may be, whatever little town and byway in in Nevada that you come to, you will see the fact that there's not a whole lot of people here. And I've got a video somewhere that I did on a Saturday, or a Friday or something like that, on a weekend that should have had many people on the streets walking around going to casino. No, it was virtually dead on the streets, hardly anybody there. And the fact that I can't find the statistics at this point that I want to share with you in comparison. I'm just going to do this is failing in Nevada. I've got putting that in the Bing search engine. It is. I'm going to say this. It is a new age of entertainment. Gambling has always been around for thousands of years in some shape or form. And because of the internet and because of the new forum, if you will, of gaming, which is the internet, Nevada is pushing for online gaming. And in some places, I know in Las Vegas when I was there a few years ago, on the TV in your hotel room, you can gamble right from there. Okay, I didn't do that. I was just going, what? You can what? Basically what it was is if you go down to the gaming floor and go to the Keno and get a Keno ticket, you can go back to your room and watch it. And get like multiple games, and just watch it on TV. See if your numbers come up. From the Las Vegas Sun, I'll put this up on the Wayne S. Pierce Show Facebook page as well. Now, I talked about opposition, and this is part of it because there is a push to literally, well, in some ways, there is a push to outlaw online gambling. But because Nevada is Nevada, they're doubling down and pushing for online gambling. So there is an opposition there. But this is an interesting article from the Las Vegas Sun. Gambling tourism failing to keep pace in northern Nevada. And this was, now get this, hold on here. This was from October 6th, 1998. Okay? 16 years ago. All right? Close to it. Says here, gambling and tourism contributes to $1 billion annually to the local economy, but those sectors stopped growing in northern Nevada about 14 years ago. Okay? When adjusted for inflation, the study by Comstock Bank said, the report projects continued expansion of southern Nevada's economy. The current expansion of northern Nevada has been dominated by three sectors: construction, total trade, and government, all considered, quote-unquote, supportive industries, the report said. Quote, the support industries are ultimately dependent on employment creation in more basic industries such as gaming, tourism, and manufacturing, where growth has significantly slower or even negative, unquote, said Robert Barron, chairman and chief executive officer of Reno-based Comstock Bank. The study warns that the tax squeeze on local governments is real. Quote, their revenues are insufficient to provide basic services, and it will only get worse, unquote, the report said. Taxes on gaming win and retail sales account for about 2/3 of all revenues in the state's general fund. They also contribute to local governments. Quote, the sector which has historically produced the largest positive impact on the local economy, gaming, stopped growing in terms of real inflation-adjusted gaming win 14 years ago. That was, what, 1984, folks. They're talking like 30 years. That's a good span of time, okay? Quote, we have been living off of the largesse ever since, unquote. Ken Adams, a local gaming industry consultant, said he agrees with the bank's report. Quote, I would characterize the Reno market as being flat with little growth, unquote. He told the Reno Gazette-Journal, quote, if we don't strengthen our product, we're going to be struggling, unquote. That concern is shared by Richard Wells, president of Wells Gaming Research in Reno, which tracks player traffic in local casinos. Quote, the gaming industry is important, and I wouldn't characterize it as sick and dying, but it's certainly not growing, unquote. Southern Nevada, in contrast, continues to experience growth with the opening of Bellagio, Mandalay Bay, Paris, Las Vegas, and the Venetian Las Vegas. Las Vegas will add more than 12,000 rooms over the next 5 quarters. Quote, these new resorts and the intensified marketing and business developments underway in Southern Nevada will offset the negative impacts of spreading worldwide economic turmoil, unquote, Baroni, or whoever said. Now, that was back in 1998. That was back in 1998, folks. This is 2014. This is 16 years later after that. All right? And they were talking about years before that, okay? Let me tell you the opposition here. People don't have the money to go out, and they may save up $1 or $2 or, a couple $100 in a month or something like that if they're able to, and they may go out and eat dinner somewhere. They may take $20 or $40 that they just have sitting around that hardly ever anybody has sitting around. They may take that money and go pop it on throw it into a one-armed bandit or something. They may go play poker. They may go do something. But gaming is slowing in the brick and mortars. Slowing, and I agree, it's not dying. It's just slowing down, and it's going to considerably slow down unless something changes. Here's where this comes in. There's opposition in this regard. People aren't making the money that they used to make. When you adjust today's inflation rate, looking back in 1998, you're going to see a tremendous gap between the cost of living and wages to adjust for inflation for that cost of living. Now, of course, the bottom line is, if something goes up, it's got to be passed on to the consumer. I understand that. But when you go into a restaurant, when you go into, a shoe store, when you go into the malls, prices are going up, but the adjustment for inflation is not reflected in your wages. The opposition says, we don't want to raise the minimum wage. We don't want to raise anybody's salary because it'll hurt our business because we're not making the money. Why? Because nobody's buying their product or service. Why? Because inflation is so much that a person trying to budget for their home and to keep a roof over their head and food in their stomach and bills paid is not making the money. So what's the opposition? I mean, that right there that I just described in the way that I did reminds me of the mouse in the cage in the wheel, just going and going and going. He's not gaining, but he gets off every once in a while, drinks water, gets his energy back up and goes back. And I mean, it's an evil cycle. You don't make the money to go out and to enjoy yourself, to have some time to just relax and here in Reno to go gambling or go eat at a good restaurant or whatever, because you don't make the money, because the companies aren't making the money, because people aren't buying their product or service, because they don't make the... You see where this is going, right? So the opposition in this is pretty much existential if you really, really think about it. And it really is based on the fact that people want more and want more time to be able to do more, but they're working more hours for less money, and things are just inflated to the point where their monthly salaries are not giving them that opportunity to go get the things and do the things that they need to do to relax. So when I say there's an opposition, the opposition is pretty much, it's there, but it's a constant battle to, it's a constant push against that opposition. Okay? You take a balloon. And everybody as a kid made water balloons, right? You hooked it up to the faucet outside, right? And you did all that. You put your hand under that balloon as it's filling up with water. Your hand is that opposition. And sooner or later, that balloon's just going to, the pressure in that whole thing is just going to explode it, and it's just not going to be good. So the more that we are pushing against the opposition, the more the opposition does not care. There is no thought at all as to, well, I should slow down because, no. There isn't that common sense thought from the opposition. There is no common sense thought that says of the opposition, we're going to pull back now. We're not going to really put them in the dirt at this point because we would like them to gain. There's not that idea. You may see it in several outlets in the world where the opposition will pull back just a bit so that these certain areas can gain, for them to take that reward from there or award themselves something so they can give it to somebody else. But in America, you don't see that. In the United States, you don't see that. You see a constant push against everything that is right, everything that is constitutional, everything that we want as far as peace, freedom, liberty, and security in this nation. And we are that water balloon filling up, and sooner or later, it's going to break. And there's going to be confusion. There's going to be, disassociations somewhere. Friends are going to become enemies. I mean, this kind of thing. It's all going to come to that point of explosion. And we don't know how to handle that right now. We were never taught in the last 30 years how to handle that type of implosion of an economy and of a nation. We've never been there. So we don't know what we're going up against. We can see the big, we can see the problem. We know that there is a problem, but we don't know who's pushing that problem. I mean, when I say who, we don't know We see the men in front of us of the opposition. We see who's behind them. But behind them, beyond the horizon, who is that? What's happening? Why is it happening the way that it is? So we have to take a look at that and find out who the opposition is and what's happening and how we, in 2014, can really stop that opposition dead in its tracks. So this is what we're going to look at. So anyway, bottom of the hour already. Oh man, this just goes fast, doesn't it? Anyway, got another few minutes with you. And when I come back from this break, we'll talk about how can we defeat the opposition. It's just my ideas, just some opinions. So if you have an opinion and if you have an idea, please send that to me. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. And you can go to thewaynespearceshow.weebly.com. I'll be back in a few minutes.
This is Free America Radio Network. For more information, go to freeamericaradio.us.
We are in the midst of a global collapse. The world is coming undone. The globalists that are in control want to enslave the entire population of the world. And for those that do not go along with the philosophies of the oligarchies, they will be eliminated.
The affirmative task we have now is to actually create a new world order, because the global order is changing again. And the institutions and the rules that worked so well in the post-World War II era for decades, they need to be strengthened, and some have to be changed.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
You're listening to the Free America Radio Network.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
As long as the Matrix exists, the human race will never be free.
What is the Matrix? Control. The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
No. I don't believe it. It's not possible.
I didn't say it would be easy, Neo. I just said it would be the truth.
I will not condone a course of action that will lead us to war.
A communications disruption can mean only one thing: invasion.
Welcome back. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast for the 9th of September 2014. How are ya? How are you? Now, people ask me that, but then there's always that opposition of telling them the truth. Well, I'm sick and tired of holding back, and so should you be. The opposition is literally at your doorstep telling you what to do, when to do it, why to do it, how to do it. Plus, on top of that, they're surveilling you with cameras and cell phones and drones and everything else like that so that you will do exactly what they want you to do. It's kind of like the Matrix movie. Have you seen them? Is this a computer-generated dream world? I was watching a thing yesterday on Netflix. Unsealed Conspiracy Files. You may have seen it. It was a couple of years old. They talked about mind control. The records are out, man. The stories are out. The whistleblowers have come out and said, yes, there is a massive amount of mind control going on with chemtrails and aluminum in the air and all this and nanobots. And I mean, you name it, there's all sorts of mind control going on. But they started it way back years ago when we didn't have drones, when we didn't have all of this, through psychology and the psychological operations. You know, words mean something is what I kept hearing. Words mean something. I grew up with hearing that. And when you go back to the, let's put it this way, the joke is Central Intelligence Agency. Yeah, right. Or, I think the comedian George Carlin said it perfectly when he talked about words, words like jumbo shrimp. I mean, like Department of Homeland Security. There is no security in the homeland. And why are they using the word homeland? That came out of Nazi Germany. Okay? You see, the words, you got to look at that. It's all psychological operations developed by the military-industrial complex that I believe it was Eisenhower in his exit speech was talking about. As a matter of fact, I think I have that clip. I'm not sure. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We are being duped into believing whatever it is they want us to believe. There are a vast majority of the people in the United States of America that have seen through their BS and now understand that everything is controlled and not by those in Washington, D.C. Okay? We understand this. We know this. It's there. All right? It's there. I don't know why people cannot see it. I don't know why people don't want to accept it. I was just talking to somebody. I was talking to Diana yesterday, and she said somebody at work, where she works her day job, literally, she was trying to talk, Diana was trying to talk to this person, say, hey, just trying to have a normal, everyday conversation. And here's my point. I go, I talk to people, you talk to people, you see this, you know this, you understand this, you see that you're involved in a conversation, but when you try to tell someone something that is absolute truth, that is absolute factual, and you tell them what's going on in the world about how we have, chemtrails, about how we have a government that's doing this and doing it, when you start getting deep into the conversation, they're going to say, as this person told Diana yesterday, I don't want to hear it, I just want to have a good day, I don't want my day messed up. I don't want to have to think about that. Okay? Well, let me tell you, you're going to have to think about it. You're going to be forced to think about it, not by me, but by the fact that when the militarized law enforcement comes to your door and kicks it down for no reason and searches for weapons and drugs and everything else, when you yourself know you have done nothing wrong, yeah, maybe you'll get it then. So to all my friends out there on my Facebook page and pages and all of that I've talked to personally, I'm going to say this. You better wake the hell up now. I don't care how bad your day is going to be, or how much you don't want your day to be bad. It's a lot worse than you can imagine. So wake up now. Okay? Because I care about you. I understand where you're coming from, because I was there at one point. And it's always helpful to take a look at the things around you and examine those things and say, you know what? What is important to me? To me, it's family and friends. To me, it's gathering the information and be able to share it with you. That's important. Freedom, liberty, security, peace is important to me. Helping people smile every day. Helping people with whatever it is they need is important to me. But we have to be free to choose for ourselves what we want to do in our lives to have that happen. If you are not free, and when I say free, I mean without restriction. If you are not free to be able to make up your mind and decide for yourself what it is you want to do with your life and follow your conscience wherever it leads, if you are so inclined to do so, then that's what I want. If you sit in your home, whether you're working, whether you're on Social Security disability, whether you're in some sort of between job area, you have to understand those things immediately. That without the freedom to choose for yourself the jobs you want, what you want to do, if you want to start your own business, that kind of thing, you have to understand that if you are restricted in doing that, you're not free. And again, to all my friends and family that are on my Facebook page, wake the hell up. Just wake up. I'm done with people who oppose me in everything I say. And if they're going to stick their fingers in their ears, go, la, 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 I don't want to hear it. I don't want my day being ruined. I'm closing the door on you. You're done. I don't care if you're friends or family. You're done. You go off and just live in your little cookie cutter delusional world all you want. I'm done with you. But if you want to sit here and have a discussion and a debate, bring your information to the table, that's one. But bring an open mind and an open heart, primarily. Because you're going to learn things that will blow you out of the water. Your intellect is going to look like a pretzel when I'm done with you. Because you're going to look at things going, they never taught me this. They never showed me this. I was never... Well, no. Because they're not going to. And the opposition is always going to be negative. It does not matter if it's the hate group Westboro Baptist Church or whether it's the fear-mongering MSNBC, those race baiters over there with Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, it does not matter. The opposition is always going to be negative. Patriotism, liberty, the spirit of the Constitution and our founding fathers is what's going to win this country back for the people, period, end of sentence. And the opposition is going to be put in a hole and sent to hell because that's the way it has always been. But now the opposition has doubled down on their advancements against peace, liberty, freedom, and security in this country. They've doubled down, and they've hired a bunch of thugs and paying them with your tax money. They're called ISIS or IS or it's Al-Qaeda, it's Mujahideen, it's you name it, it's the terrorist groups they've set up that they're funding to come to this country, to take this country out, and to take the people out who are opposed to their negative way of living. I've seen it before in the history of the United States of America. I've seen it before. I've read it. I've seen it. I've examined it from beginning to end. That when there is opposition within the borders of the United States of America, the citizens band together regardless of race, creed, or religion, and they stand up to that opposition and they kick its ass. And they annihilate it. And if there's any shred, any thread, any minute little particle of that opposition left, we stomp it out like a bug. I have found out that the United States of America and the citizens that live here are very resilient. And I don't care how much technology the opposition has. They will end. They will meet their demise in the biggest, loudest, most explosive way that you can ever imagine. And we will take our country back because we are here to defend peace, liberty, freedom, and security for this country, for the people, and that's the way it's going to be. But the opposition is going to push and push and push. They are from the pits of Mordor. They are the demons from hell, and they will stop at nothing to annihilate any freedom lover, any liberty lover, anybody who wants peace and security for this nation. They will stop at nothing. And they will bring nothing. Because it has always been seen throughout history and mythology that once that group of people who annihilated the peaceful, loving people in the area, once they become dominant, they begin to chew apart each other, and they begin to battle one another, and they begin to have one or a group of people fight for dominance, and it starts all over again. But this time, that's not going to happen. I don't know how many people there were in 1775 in New England, in the 13 colonies. I don't know how many people there were in 1776 when the War of Independence began. But it only took 3% of the people to beat back and win the battle against the biggest army of that time, and that was the British Army. There's a hell of a lot more people now, and believe it or not, technology goes both ways. We have seen the United States from every aspect in history. We have seen the opposition fight as much as they possibly can until they can't fight anymore. And we have taken the remains and the remnants of that opposition and we have tossed their asses in jail or stuffed them in a grave. And I guarantee you that will happen again. And the vast majority of the American people, of the people of the United States of America, will be victorious in this. Because one thing is on our side. Providence. Providence. You think about that for a minute. Go look that word up. Startpage.com or dictionary.com. When you have a people defending their area from an opposing force that wants to annihilate them, you're going to have a greater faith on one side than you have on the other. You will have a greater spirit of freedom on one side than you have on the other. Now, I'm going to play a clip here in just a second, but I want to remind you that the opposition is doing everything they can to destroy the United States from within. So we have to look at all those aspects and all those areas and find out who they are. And we need to be like a gardener with a weed eater and just come in and start slicing and dicing and getting these people out of here. And I don't care if they're politicians you voted for in 2008 or 2012, or even in the midterms coming up. We need to look at them and examine them from top to bottom, back and forth, and we need to see who they are and who they support. And if they don't support peace, freedom, liberty, and security for this nation, they can leave or we'll throw their asses in jail. That's just the way it's going to be. Now, am I calling for a coup? Am I saying that the citizens of the United States of America rise up and take this country back? All I can say is, right now, we need to defend ourselves from the opposition that is at the gates of our fortress. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to play this clip. Just take a listen to what this is. Movies have a great predictive programming in them, and they show you exactly what is the idea behind what is happening. Here, let me play this.
In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire for a safe and secure society.
So what do you think of that? What do you think of that for a more secure society? Now, the opposition is so arrogant, conceited, and think that they have everything to their advantage. Let me point some out. Let me point some reality out to you. They are so arrogant and blinded by their conceit that they have absolutely no idea. They have absolutely no idea just how wrong they truly are. Now, how can I say that? You can probably use the argument of, well, they can look back in history and see where the mistakes were made and say they're not going to make it anymore. Really? Napoleon, Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, Lenin, Khrushchev, Saddam Hussein, Muammar Gaddafi. By the way, 4 of those people we set up in their own government. We set up the opposition. We created the government, the military industrial complex, all that. Created the problem. We, the people, and people around the world reacted. And now the government, who set it up in the first place, is coming back and telling us that they have the solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Hegelian dialectic. Go look that up. But the opposition will stop at nothing to create a galactic empire. They will do everything to set up a new world order, and they will stop at nothing, including wiping out 80 to 90% of the world's population. David Rockefeller, I think, said, I don't know, I'll have to go look this up. He said he said that it's, easier to get rid of 1 million people than have to support them, or something of that nature, right? He said that, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you get the opposition now, don't you? You understand, from, of course, your perspective as well, what the opposition is there to do. And it is what it is. There's no getting around that. They are going to do everything they can to stop anybody who wants peace, freedom, security, and liberty in the United States. They're going to do that. We are the final and only country that has peace, freedom, security, and liberty for its people. We are the only one. As Ronald Reagan said, there isn't any place we can go to. This is it. Okay? And if you want to continue to believe your state-run media and listen to that propaganda that they spew, you go right ahead and do that. If you want to continue to make up excuses and say you don't want to have your day ruined, you go live in your deluded world, your little cookie-cutter world, and go and pretend that everything is just fine. It's not. Okay? If you want to sponsor this show, you can. I'm looking for sponsors. This is how I make my living, folks. I make absolutely zip right now. Zip, zero, zilch, nada. But if you want to help out the Free America Radio Network, you can. Got a lot of great shows on here. We got this show, the Wayne S. Pierce Show. We have the Views Expressed. We have the Unnamed Show. We have the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. We have a bunch of other entertainment shows as well that are coming up. I'm redoing a whole lot of things behind the scenes to bring you better programming. So if you want to be a part of that, you can be by supporting Free America Radio Network and by supporting the Views Expressed and the Wayne S. Pierce Show and all the other ones I just mentioned. You can go to freeamericaradio.us. You can donate if you like. You can sponsor the show if you like. You can also buy emergency food supply if you want some of that. Get as much as you can because you'll be helping out your family and Free America Radio Network at the same time. You can go to thewaynespearceshow.weebly.com and sponsor the show from there as well. It's not going to break your marketing budget. I'm keeping it very, very low for you. So if you want to support Free America Radio Network and the programming here, please do. I would appreciate it very, very much. In the meantime, folks, you can come check me out on the Views Express live today at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll be talking about the 9/11 anniversary coming up in a couple of days and lead into that. And just a whole lot more. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook or the Wayne S. Pierce Show on Facebook. Check out more information there as well. Again, Free America Radio at USA.com is the email. Free America Radio at USA.com. FreeAmericaRadio.us. And, of course, this show, the Wayne S. Pierce Show, at the WayneSPierceShow.weebly.com, and I will see you later today on the Views Expressed live on the Free America Radio Network at freeamericaradio.us.